paradox we are about to explore is called the Russell set trap. In the quiet corners of logic, it whispers a troubling question about self-reference and belonging. Imagine a library not just filled with books, but catalogs, each a careful list, ordered by rules simple and strict, and then a catalog that holds only those catalogs that refuse to hold themselves, a collection defined by exclusion of itself. This is no ordinary paradox, but a reflection on the fragile line where order dissolves into contradiction. The Russell set trap invites us to listen closely to the boundaries of thought and the subtle fractures that emerge when systems turn inward, folding back upon themselves like shadows chasing their source beneath fading candlelight. At first, the paradox seems a quiet puzzle, the kind one might ponder with a soft certainty. Yet it is a mirror to deeper mysteries, how we classify, how we contain, and how the act of containment can suddenly entangle and undo itself. Like a gentle ripple across still water, it spreads unease in the foundation of certainty. It asks poets, philosophers, and dreamers alike to consider the limits of definition, where the lines blur and the shapes refuse to settle. In this slow twilight of understanding, the paradox reveals how the simplest act of grouping carries within it the seeds of a riddle that refuses resolution, a question lingering like smoke in an empty room. Soren is a librarian shaped by silence and shadow, a man who guards a library unlike any other. His world is one of catalogs, each a world unto itself, sorted by rules that give comfort and shape to chaos. One afternoon, beneath a dim lantern's glow, Soren embarks on an unusual task, crafting a new catalog. This one carries a strange and delicate rule. It will list all catalogs that do not include themselves. As he pages through faded volumes, carefully weighing each, Soren feels an unfamiliar weight settle in his chest, the hint of a riddle heavier than any he has met before, a quiet disturbance that beckons curiosity and solitude together. Days drift like muted fog as Soren sits amid towering shelves that seem to moan with thought. He watches the new catalog grow, each name placed with care, and then falter. His fingers tremble as he reaches the moment of truth. Must this catalog itself be included? The question folds inward, curling like smoke, touching the edges of his understanding. He recalls the smooth lines of each other catalog, certain and self-contained, while this new one hangs awkwardly, a fragile echo that pulses with contradiction. Soren's eyes linger on the empty space where certainty once stood, feeling an ache born not of loss, but of a truth hesitant to reveal itself. The paradox unfolds like a quiet storm within Soren's mind, swirling through corridors of logic where certainty fractures into shadows. If this catalog includes itself, it breaks its rule, a catalog belonging only to catalogs that reject themselves. Yet if it does not include itself, it too belongs by definition, inviting itself back in. Soren's heart beats with the strange rhythm of a question without end, a trap woven from the fabric of self-reference. It is a silence that screams, a loop that tightens with every thought, reminding him that some puzzles are not meant to be solved, but held carefully like glass, fragile and luminous in the dimming light. Soren's silent struggle stretches late into the candlelit hours, a meditation on boundaries and belonging. Each attempt to resolve the paradox melts away like mist, vanishing before clarity can take hold. In this quiet dance of acceptance and doubt, the librarian begins to see that the paradox is less a problem to conquer and more a mirror reflecting the limits of our own frameworks. The catalogs, once firm and orderly, blur at the edges, revealing how self-reference can fold space into impossible shapes. The trap is not just in the logic, but in the inviting allure of infinite loops that threaten to collapse the very foundations we build upon. Then comes a moment of stillness, where Soren steps back from his task, the silence thick with unspoken understanding. He places a gentle sign on the empty shelf. This catalog has been temporarily removed for repairs. The emptiness itself becomes a testament, a quiet homage to a riddle that resists final form. This gesture is not surrender, but an acceptance of paradox's quiet power to unsettle and inspire. Like a candle flickering in the vast night, it reminds us that some truths dwell not in resolution, but in the patient space between certainty and mystery, nestled softly in the folds of contemplation. Beyond the library's walls, the Russell set trap echoes softly into the world, a subtle reflection on bureaucracy, rules, and belief. Imagine an office overseeing all offices that do not oversee themselves, or a rule applying to all rules except itself. These loops spiral quietly, threatening collapse where boundaries fade. Even in the labyrinth of the mind, we encounter this silent trap, trying to think about how we think, judging how we judge. The paradox unfurls its gentle warning. Infinite systems need boundaries, and self-reference asks us to accept the fragile edges where clarity slips through our fingers, leaving behind the soft glow of mystery in its stead. In the darkened quiet, Soren's story folds into ours, inviting us to look inward, to ask what catalogs we carry within ourselves, what frameworks shape how we see, how we sort our worlds, and do any return to contain themselves. The Russell set trap is an invitation to embrace uncertainty without fear, to lean softly into questions without answers. It suggests that some contradictions are not failures, but doorways, beckoning us to step beyond the logic of certainty into a place where wonder and doubt coexist, quiet and profound. Here, in this dim space, our restless minds may finally find a kind of peace. As you lie here, drifting between wakefulness and sleep, consider this gentle challenge. If the set of all sets that do not contain themselves collapses beneath its own weight, what other truths do we carry that might shatter when held too tightly? Perhaps the beauty of understanding is not in grasping every answer, but in resting within the soft embrace of unresolved questions. The Russell set trap teaches us that some ideas are meant to be felt rather than fixed, whispered rather than spoken, like shadows that flicker at the edge of light, inviting us to dream quietly of what lies beyond the edges of knowing.